folks, we're in the home stretch here. Our final panel is another burgeoning trend, especially here in the U.S., with just a few years ago. Legalized sports gambling was allowed on a state-by-state basis here in Illinois. It is certainly exploding. I'm on pretty much all the apps when the games are on. It's created this huge market, especially worldwide. And the panel is titled The Present and Future of Sports Betting, and it's powered by Bleacher Report. Here to moderate for us is the founder at Futrsprt. Please welcome Simon Ogus.
Hey, Josh. How's it going?
Great, Simon. Great to have you with us.
Likewise. Really excited to be here.
Awesome. Let's introduce your two panelists that will be joining you. We're pleased to welcome the Chief Executive Officer at Israel Sport Betting Board. Please welcome Yael Almor-Leon.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Yael. Great to see you.
I'm very happy to be here in this impressive conference.
Happy to have you. And from Bleacher Reports, the #1 most engaged sports media brand in the world, it's our pleasure to have the Senior Vice President and General Manager of BR Betting, Joe Yanarella. Hey, Joe.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. Simon, take it away.
Sounds good. Josh, as you said, this is a really evolving space, so I'm really excited to have a conversation with Yael and Joe. Joe, I'm going to start with you. You know, media, I'd say, one of the lasting kind of things I'd say from 2020 in the sports betting space is how media has really kind of become a forefront, mentioning it on broadcast, making it a part of, television packages, as well as media partnerships with Vegas and connecting with media brands like yourself at Bleacher Report. What do you think are the main drivers of this and all these media kind of gambling partnerships? What brought it to the forefront this year?
Well, Simon, I think first and foremost, it's competition for eyeballs. It's a very competitive landscape. And in a year like this, it became even more compressed. So it creates more competition. And when you have someone who has an incentive, whether they have a wager placed on the game, they're more incentivized to engage and watch. And linear outlets and broadcasts are looking for more engaged viewers, while the partners on the other side are looking for brand visibility or loyalty. So getting to partner with major outlets like Bleacher Report and the Turner linear homes, it allows those to collaborate together as they try to create the next wave of consumers that are going to be more engaged in interacting with broadcast as opposed to simply consuming them.
That's really interesting. And I realized when you were on the panel, I realized how much of a vacuum I'm kind of in here in the United States. And I didn't really know a lot about, sports gambling and how it operates in Israel. So can you tell us about your role as heading up the ISBB, the Israel Sport Betting Board, and give our listeners kind of a background of how Israel is handling sports betting and what the status is there?
Okay, of course. For the last 2 years, I've been the CEO of the Toto, the Israeli Sport Betting Board. Toto is the company that is authorized by the state of Israel to offer sport betting to residents of Israel. I believe that the conference participants understand the great value of the technology, the development as a major entry in sport betting, because that's the whole issue, I believe, is of this conference. I can say that it's certainly apparent the technology evolved is not only take over our way of life, it's also direct us to define channels and the companies that know how to make proper use of technology tools can maximize business results like we do every day in ISBB. Indeed, it was challenging to run a company that markets only sport betting, not other company in the world during the Corona period. But I can say that we are after a difficult period, and I'm very optimistic. I would like to talk about the main issue that companies like us, sport betting companies, have dealing with for the past year. But I can say that my point of view is optimistic because I anticipate that the sport betting industry will be able to improve significantly in light of the creativity and innovation that has been forced to develop during this period. I think we are a very unique company because we have only just sport betting, unlike others. And when the corona started in late December, as we all know, in China and Asia, we all see that at the 13th of April, there were only 3 leagues in the whole world that you could bet on. That was Belarus, Nicaragua, and Taiwan. And before the leagues closed, people were already at home because here in Israel, we have the government tell us to stay at home, especially the second half of March. People consumed a lot of screen time because of it. Felt the need stances of this period. People were still in a state of utter misunderstanding of what was going on, not the economic side, and the corona bring with it, meaning that they would soon earn much less money compared to a normal period. I also saw that in most of Europe, government created a long-term protection network for residents and provided them with income every week, even if they did not have a job. Much of this money paid as an income guarantee went to the gambling operation. All the gaming industry, mid-March, gaming industry consumption, because the sport betting decreased, the gaming industry consumption grew by 75%. The week of the 22nd of April was the strongest week of the gaming industry in the whole world. 1.2 billion game download a week, 50% increase only compared to previous quarter. If you all know what's esport, at regular time, esport is growing categorically regardless of the corona. The British Gaming Association studies the effect of the corona in relation to consumption of gaming, and the gaming companies have tried to promote esport, but it should be remembered that it is still a niche that cannot cover the loss from sport betting. It's also happened in Italy, and when we see the Panthers began investing in the stock market because sport betting was not available. After the stock market crashed, everyone realized it was going to go up. People really start making a lot of money on stock market and become addicted, if we can say something like that. And by the return of the leagues returned with the game structure that include the high frequency of game. It was all good, but returning the games allows league manager to continue be paid for broadcast rights, for example, but the different game structure made Panthers gamble less than usual because they did not necessarily know when the game took place, and because the Panthers could not gamble in the short time in the right amount. So there was a very huge different structure that the gamblers knew. All the industry damage, there were no regular flights, making it difficult for teams to get to the games, no fan participation in games, damaged the game experience. So there were less gambling. Sport clubs have no income from ticket sales, merchandise sales decline. So we actually see all the industry that damaged because a lot of input. When the leagues reopened again, as we all see, some were shortened or cancelled due to a schedule problem. It resulted in a financial loss because there were fewer games and less copyright revenue. Due to the economic damage, the level of the teams decreased because there were less budget to pay for players, salaries, and ongoing activity. And that can lead to a lower level of interest in gaming due to a lower professional level than before. Hunters have less money available because they didn't work because of the economic damage following the corona.
That's really interesting background. Appreciate it. Joe, to transition kind of into your role at Bleacher Report, you know, you're so multifaceted, involved with content partnerships, obviously, deals with FanDuel and DraftKings. Can you talk about the past 18 months of your new role leading up sports betting for Bleacher Report, and what some future initiatives are for what you guys are looking to do?
Absolutely, Simon. I would say one of the benefits that we've had at Bleacher Report is we were an early adopter into the space. Even previous to myself joining the team, we were running social channels, and it allowed us to create a a lot of data on audiences, to really study audiences, what worked, what didn't, what resonated. It was real-time feedback. It allowed us to bring them to the partnerships you referenced with FanDuel and DraftKings. We went from a physical presence in Las Vegas as part of a studio we had to a remote presence. And I think with the things we've learned and the real differentiating factors to us is that we found our audience isn't just looking for news and picks and information. They're not looking for one-way information. They're not looking for transactions. They're looking to be part of a community. This next wave of audience is social. They're mobile. They're interactive. They want to be part of the story. And once we started to adjust our point of view and really build it around the fans and less about here's what the expert is telling you and here's how you can engage in the betting experience and bring them along. Our NFL show called Squad Ride allows us to take user-generated video every week where they're using creative ways to send us picks, which will include anything from chickens in a barn making a selection. We are on the emphasis on fun because this is an engaging experience. It's an interaction that fans want to be part of and they want to contribute to. And we've seen incredible engagement with our audience, and we've been able to carry that partnership on and those learnings on to FanDuel and DraftKings. And I think what excites us is how that journey looks. It starts via social, and then it goes to digital, and then it goes to linear. A great example we saw over the Thanksgiving weekend was our coverage of the Match 3.0, which included Charles Barkley and Phil Mickelson and Steph Curry and Peyton Manning. We were able to seed that for 10 days through our social channels to create excitement and tune in and engagement. And then we were able to create digital experiences and shows that we were able to provide in our app and companion experiences. And then we were able to enhance the live broadcast, and it allows the partner to have a kind of a full surrounding of an event as opposed to just integration into the broadcast that can last 2 to 3 hours. And our audience really likes being brought into those experiences to feel part of it, that they can influence it, that we might incentivize them because bettors like skin in the game. We'll do giveaways of merchandise and such, and they love to engage with those kind of opportunities where we make them part of the story and they can feel like they're part of a community of like-minded people, whether they're casual bettors or experts, but like-minded fans who want to be part of these sports experiences.
That's really interesting, and that was certainly a pretty unique event with athletes that typically aren't hanging out with each other. So that was really a really good one. Yael, obviously COVID has completely changed the way that people bet. It was in person at sports books, but now certainly it was shifted to online. As we start to get back into somewhat of a normal society, do you think that things are going to be changed, permanently? Is there going to be less in-person betting? Will the content, through mobile betting, go up even once life returns back to normal? How do you see it, and how do you see the structure of how people bet moving forward?
Okay, so first of all, we saw a lot of innovation aspects at the time of the corona, of the hard time of the corona. During the corona, innovative activities were created all over. If you know the Grand National, the prestigious horse race that takes place in Liverpool, took place at that time virtually, similar to the real thing. The horse form, age, weight, and the ground preference, it's all considered. Mathematical algorithm eats up all the data from the horse history and screw out a race for punters to enjoy. So that's a very good example to see how you can do the real Grand National that we all know. They did it in other innovative way, and did it a very technological, intelligence execution. Another innovation aspect at Corona time is a substitute for the crowd. We all know that the crowd can't go to the stadium. They created innovative solution also, placing cardboard figures instead of the audience, an app that helps home fans cheer their group, playing fan voices during the game, etc., etc. But the world of gambling in the future, regarding the development of the technology, will go into like for example, like in live betting. Also, you all know what is live betting. I believe it's you can bet still during the games. Also, it exists for a very long time. The betting process will be short. I believe that the betting process will be shorter and simpler. I see it already. Bet without using a screen, one-click bet, voice bet, smart TV, watch betting, use augmented reality that will provide information and enhanced experience as if you are watching it in real life, and increase the use of AI and machine learning. You all know what it means. The robot will send the bet. It will be a challenge for both the gambler and the betting companies. The robot will recommend it to the punters what to gamble on and how. And I believe the technology will facilitate the betting process, provide information like that third-party companies will use an algorithm to help punters make a profit. It's going to be very interesting for all of us, also for the punters and for the company. And I believe it's a very. I'm very optimistic about the future of the sport gaming because I see it already happen because of the corona and despite the corona. And I believe that it will going to be more innovating, more technological issue embedded in it.
Very interesting. So, Joe, this is one I'm really interested in. When I used to go to Vegas more than I do now, my dad always told me that Vegas casinos were not built off of the backs of winners. I'm really interested as you plot out this strategy. The best sports gamblers in the world win maybe 57% of the time. The stats just show that if your readers participate in sports betting, which I imagine the vast majority do, most of them are going to lose, and I got to think that's challenging to keep people interested in being return visitors to your content when most of them will lose. So how are you combating this? And what you talked about your initiative in the last question of creative content. How are you combating this with keeping readers hooked when they might be in a losing streak?
Well, I think, as we said, Simon, I think you nailed it, that we like to say, you're only going to be right 55 to 57% of the time. So your audience is going to dislike you 45% of the time if all you do is provide transactional information. It doesn't work. We found that very early on. It doesn't engage. People don't comment. But if you allow them an opinion and you bring them into a conversation, it changes the narrative very much. We might ask them, okay, here's a 4-team parlay. Which team blows up the parlay? And everyone wants to have an opinion. They have a belief about it. They still want to be part of the community, whether they're actively wagering on these events or not. Everyone has an opinion about their favorite sports team and how they'll perform and whether they'll cover and whether they'll win and who'll go over a prop for yards. So I think keeping that audience engaged from an emotional fandom level and keeping them part of the interactive experiences we're creating, we want them emotionally invested more than we want them financially invested, because that's the way to build a community. And then they can commiserate together when they lose or celebrate together when they win. It allows those real emotional triggers that really spurs brand loyalty much more so than just giving out a pick that makes them $25.
Definitely. So we have about 40 seconds here. So maybe quick with both of you, I guess, what is one big thing that's going to be changing in the world of sports betting, in the future as we go forward? So quickly, I'm interested with each of you.
I think it will be more personal, more innovative way to put the game on. And we all know a lot about our customer or punters, and they will know much better how to do the work for themselves.
I would say mobile and 5G will explode the real-time market, and that'll expand to differentiate opportunities, including esports and new types of opportunities for betting.
Well, thanks, everyone. This flew by. I can't even believe it's over already. Really interesting stuff from two pretty unique vantage points in the sports betting world. So I will toss it back over to Josh.
Great, Simon. Thank you so much, Joe. Yael, thank you as well.